All right, Dynasty Trades in 5, episode 37. I'm Clay.
I'm Shane, and it's Thanksgiving Day, and Clay is making me record.
I am very thankful that Clay is making us record. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. I'm excited for this one. I really have a big smile on my face. Let's go.
So we're recording the night before Thanksgiving. I'm not a psychopath. But we're doing Dawson Knox tonight. Just turned 25. He had a very Tanya-y feel to me. The start of the season, not getting tons of targets, getting some TDs, but this is as much as I let myself talk. So Shane, you're up, buddy.
I like when you talk. It's good stuff. So Dawson Knox, I think everybody was in on him, right? When he came in to the league, we were all like, oh, it was my sleeper because he's a tight end that was drafted in the third round, and every tight end's drafted in the third round, but we think they're all going to be good. Plus he had a decent athletic profile, okay college production. So he's a guy that a lot of us liked. He didn't seem to do much his rookie year. He didn't do a whole lot last year, although he did improve a little bit, but not enough because we had already moved on to the Adam Troutmans and Cole Kmets of the world, as we're wont to do with tight ends. Even though we all tell ourselves there's a third-year breakout for tight ends that exists, even though it really doesn't for most, but for some it does, and it does for him. And now I know he's Scott's favorite tight end in entire football. And I like him too. And if you can get a deal on him, like if someone will give you him for Noah Fant, do it, because his situation's better and he's shown more than Noah Fant has in their brief careers.
Yeah, I mean, I could probably do Dynasty Trades in 25 talking about Dawson Knox, but I think what it comes down to is you're always looking for the next tight end that it can ascend into this range where like people actually want them. People actually want to give you something for them. So it's just a viable trade chip, whether you have him or whether you have him stashed on a team and you haven't even been using him or didn't come into the season think you were going to use him. I mean, he's tight end 12 in DLF's ADP. I think he's going to get still penalized from a value standpoint because he doesn't have the same pedigree as Fant or Hawkinson or Goddard or even Freiermuth. I mean, a lot of people prefer Freiermuth over him. Which I understand. I mean, Freiermuth was a second-round pick. He's already flashed as a rookie. But a lot of times what you see with these guys is, and you saw it with Fant, you saw it with David Njoku, they kind of hit early on, and then we give them kind of like we crown them as like the next great tight end. And it's just really hard to go from like tight end 8, 9 to like tight end 1 or tight end 2. It's very rare do everything come together and these guys just ascend into like, okay, they're the positional advantage guys that we all know. And there's only like 3, 4, 5 of them that really ever happen at one time. So I think the argument is more like Fant and Hawkinson and Goddard aren't there. And it's really hard to justify with their current situations that they're going to reach the Kelsey, Kittle, even Mark Andrews situation now. It's just hard to say they're ever going to get there. So what's the difference between them and Dawson Knox? And Mike Gesicki is another one too. I mean, Knox had a decent profile, like Shane said. If you ignore the fact that he broke his hand, that cost him basically half of one game. Another game, he's coming back from that surgery and only had one catch. If you kind of ignore those two, he's around like 5.5, 6 targets a game. But I think the most important thing is he's tied to an offense that's throwing the ball 39 times. And look at the other targets in the offense. I mean, like, yeah, they could bring in another receiver, but he's destined to kind of be like the number 2 or number 3 option. And it's basically the same as Mark Andrews. I mean, if you think about what the Ravens have done this year with Mark Andrews, you could see a similar path for Dawson Knox for the next year or two. So I think it's a pivot option. It's a better option than paying the price for Hawkinson or Goddard or Fant. I think there's a buy window.
So was this one of those good, opportunities to give like Fant in a 2022 second for Knox and a 23 first? Is that like the kind of pivot you'd be looking to do? Or Goddard, same thing?
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I usually agree with Scott, but Fant, I'm out on Fant. That's fine. But Goddard's better than Knox is, and his situation's going to be better than Knox is. In a premium, I think is the only place where you're going to be able to do those swap first. Now, if someone were to offer me Dawson Knox in a first straight up for TJ Hawkinson, well, then we got business.
Okay, let's say we're in a 12-team super flex, start 10, 1.75 tight end premium. Would you rather have Dawson Knox or the projected, call it 110? 1.75.
Yeah, and to start one, I think it's hard to trade a first for Knox. It's certainly not out of bounds, but I think it's you don't necessarily have to pay that price for a tight end in a start one, unless it's one that's giving you a significant positional advantage.
Shane, what about you?
I forget what the original question was.
110 or Knox?
Scott,
One.
I was just enamored with his answer. Yeah, the 110. I was thinking if it was 2-point PPR for tight ends, I'd probably accept 1.75. I couldn't find myself hitting that accept button. Like I would hover over it, but I'd be like, it's too much.
Okay, last one. What about Dawson Knox and a 2022 third, or a mid 2022 second and a 23 second?
I'll take Knox.
Yeah, I think I probably end up taking the player there, just because I think the second and the third, the gap might not be that big. So I'm kind of just taking a coin flip that you might get maybe only like a 6 or 8 pick difference.